r/ProRevenge.
Greedy grabbers get exactly what they take. Reposted from elsewhere. Sweet older lady in our church was a retired nurse. Never married, no kids. She had a heart attack, and while she was in the hospital, her niece and nephew thought she was dying. They came and took her stuff. Her apartment was small, but she had some very nice crystal and silver, and some lovely antique furniture. When she came home, she had no dishes and almost no furniture. Niece and nephew denied it, but the neighbors had seen them carting everything away. Several years later, she passed away. Her most recent will, dated after her heart attack, left $1 each to her niece and nephew. Everything else went to the church. Her estate was $9 million.
Response to post.
Big Sackville Baggins energy.
You know exactly who I am, Lobelia Sackville Baggins.
Response to post.
They give $1 to show clear intent, so there's not room for them to argue inheritance in court.
My parents have a clause in their will that any party who disputes anything receives nothing.
Response to post.
I have in my will that my brother, although he probably won't outlive me, exactly $1.01, even though I would not have to, just to let him know I thought about him. Hope he drives all the way to hear the reading of the will. LOL. He has never paid me any of the money he borrowed from me, but still has the nerve to ask for more.
I think you should have followed the example of that old joke where the eager young man is badgering his recently deceased uncle's lawyer about whether he was mentioned in the will, and the lawyer dutifully reads the relevant portion, in which, after leaving nice chunks of change to other relatives, the will says, "And to my nephew Charles, who always wanted to know if he was mentioned in my will, I say hi, Charles."
Response to post.
A coworker of mine is in the midst of a situation like this currently. He used to run errands and do odd jobs for a nice old lady who was in a care home. She had only moved there initially due to her husband's health, but after he passed she stayed. My coworker would run errands to the post office, pharmacy, her favorite bakery, etc., twice a week or so while doing his landscaping, and she always gave him like $75 to $100, with holiday bonuses being over $500 occasionally. She was rather well off and her son had died, so she had no other family around. When she finally passed away, my coworker was informed he was named as a beneficiary in her will. He was flattered, and figured it would be a small and appreciated sum, perhaps a few $1,000s at most. He was in the middle of a real estate deal and needed to get an accurate view of his finances, so he asked for an idea of his bereavement. When he got the official call from the lawyer handling the estate, he was absolutely dumbfounded. The actual cash value at the time of the call was approximately $300,000, before the sale of some held investments, which was projected to add another $100,000. He was willed 20% of the total estate after the intel disbursements to charities, etc., one of 4 to 5 people sharing various amounts. The wrinkle here has become the daughter-in-law throwing the will into a legal quagmire since she was left nothing. She contests the POA unduly influenced her MIL to exclude her, however she was not featured in either of the 2 previous revisions. Turns out years prior the son and daughter-in-law went behind the lady's back to the husband, as he was in declining health, and borrowed a large sum of money, and then essentially disappeared and moved 6 hours east. When the old lady found out, she changed her will immediately, considering that payment to be their inheritance. The daughter-in-law is going to receive exactly what she deserves, a bunch of lawyer fees for a nuisance suit. When things go through, my coworker will be able to pay off his house, the new property where he intends to retire, which includes a small storefront to set up a niche museum, and provide a nice investment portfolio of his own to retire on.
Response to post.
How does a retired nurse end up with an estate of $9 million? Not sure if this is the case, but I'll tell you how it happened to a retired never-married teacher with no kids whom I used to be the accountant for. Super nice lady of about 85 years and wickedly funny and sarcastic, Every year I'd do her tax return and she'd have investment income of about $500,000. Because we had become friends over the years, I had to first apologize for my curiosity and ask her how she ended up with so much money in light of her telling me that she came from modest means. She told me very matter of fact that her closest single friends in the care home hated their relatives and ended up naming her as the sole beneficiary when they died. She literally was the last woman standing where she checked into the care home with only a modest estate and ended up being a multimillionaire in the end. I'm not sure how her friends dealt with their estates, but my client ended up with the money. After she died, she donated it all to charity.
Funny, after I read Never Married, No Kids, I didn't even question where her wealth came from.